What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Scott Proctor alongside my guy Matt Morris, per usual. We're back with another episode of Simple Question, but this time we'll have more than one because we've got a special guest joining us today for the first time, a former digital and social content publisher for the WNBA, currently a social media coordinator at Overtime, Tykera Carter. Ty, how are we doing today? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing very good today.
Absolutely. Let's hop right into things. It's an exciting time to talk some WNBA hoops. The interest in the league and the WNBA is at an all-time high right now. Why do you think that is, and how can the league take another step in the right direction towards increasing popularity?
Well, I think, first of all, coming from the social team, I'm going to have to throw it out there that they work so hard at the WNBA to try to market it properly. A lot of people don't see the behind the scenes that happens. And I think when you see the behind the scenes come to light and how the marketing team is working very hard, how the social team is working hard to make it digitally appealing, and then how the players are also presenting themselves on social media. I think when you put all those things together, it is kind of a recipe for people having this interest in women's basketball. You can see the feistiness in the game, which has completely been there. These women have been great basketball players. They've been great entrepreneurs when they're not in season, and they've also been doing their thing overseas. So I think social media has really helped drive that interest. But I also think there's also a wonderful fan base where we call it WNBA Twitter, who they're advocates for the game, and they're also helping others see what they see within, and it's helping to grow the overall brand of the WNBA.
Absolutely. And kind of going off of that, how important is it to market some of these great veterans that are playing right now that you're going to start seeing the end of? I mean, Diana Tauarasi versus Sue Bird. How are you guys trying to really make sure everybody gets to see the end of those great careers as you also try and, pump up these new stars like a Rhyne Howard?
I think the great thing is about a Diana Tauarasi and Sue Bird, those are probably the first two names that you think about when you do hear the WNBA. So those names are already well known. I think people do understand that this is Sue Bird's last year, and she's done a good job of publicly announcing that herself. And I think the WNBA is on it. As far as the other day, there was this great of them arguing over whose ball it is. Like, those are two greats who also consider themselves like sisters to one another, like going back and forth about the ball. Like, that's great marketing, first of all, by the WNBA, knowing like, oh, we have to get this clip out there. Like, people need to see this. But also, I think it naturally comes when you have a player like Diana Tauarasi on display, who hasn't had her greatest start to the season thus far. But I think everybody knows how good that she is and how great that Phoenix Mercury team can be, how they made that deep run last year to the finals. That it's kind of the same thing where DT is a player that she's on commercials and stuff right now. She's doing the NCAA thing where she was commentating with Sue during that time. For like just women's sports. So I think those players have been around so long that they have their due diligence to market themselves, and people are also getting them involved with other aspects, seeing that it is their last days. And in turn, it is helping the spotlight shine on a younger player like Rhyne Howard, who's also, again, she's doing the work for herself. You come out, you drop 33 points as a rookie, like, you're going to get some eyes on you and some attention. The Atlanta Dream are 4-1 right now. Regardless of the situation, this was not the case for them the year before. It's the Rhyne Howard effect. If you're following the game, you're going to notice the young stars in this league right now. And if I must say so myself, this rookie class is by far, like, hands down, just better than the one last year. Like, I think everyone can probably agree on that. So it's been interesting to see, like, one game Shakira Austin drops 20 points. Then you got Rhyne Howard doing her thing. Oh, what's NaLyssa Smith doing over here in Indiana? Like, they're that interesting story in themselves. So I think they've been fun to watch in this early part of the season. And my dad's like, I could see Shakira Austin winning Rookie of the Year. I'm like, no, I don't know about that, Rhyne Howard. But the fact that you can have that conversation of two players so early on who are both doing their thing, and you're like, she could potentially get it. Destanni Henderson came out hot in her first two games. Now, granted, I don't know her situation in Indiana and why all of a sudden she's not starting or whatever. That's a different story. But the fact that she can come into this league after getting drafted so late and drop 19 points, like, this rookie class is impressive. So I think the fact that they do have their following on social media where people already loved them from college, and it helped that they came up in the NIL era and now they're in the WNBA being able to do their thing. It's just a full circle, I think, moment for this rookie class, and showing that, like, we are the the faces of tomorrow, and we can compete against the Diana Taurasi's, Candace Parker's, Sue Bird's, and I mean, I guess you can even throw Breonna Stewart in there. Like they're super impressive early on.
No doubt. I'm glad you gave this rookie class some love because they deserve it. I was just saying yesterday, Matt and I were on a call with a senior researcher at ESPN who focuses on the WNBA, and I was telling her that Rhyne Howard probably already one of my favorite players in the entire league. Like you said, 30 ball in her first game, and she was doing everything at Kentucky, and you can just see her skill set transitioning to the next level. So I love how she's come out the gate. Breonna Stewart and a few other players recently spoke up about the massive waiving of talented players from teams due to the league's very restrictive hard cap. Personally, I couldn't believe that a couple of talented rookies, again, like NaLyssa Kinane, Avina Westbrook, were waived among some others, obviously. But how problematic is this for the league, and how can you think it be remedied in the future moving forward?
I would say it's sad because this isn't the first year that it happened. Again, I think social media just really put that cap on it where people talked about it more this year, but it's always been a thing where you're not guaranteed a spot even if you get drafted in the WNBA. But I think just more eyes were on it because it was popular players that came up that were getting drafted as well. And it's not to say that back then when players were getting waived in the first round, they weren't popular, but they also didn't grow up in this social media era. So it wasn't as many, I think, appealing eyes on it where the word was traveling so fast about it. You have so many outlets who are covering these things now via social media that it really hits home when you see someone like a Girls Talk Sports post that and you're like, oh, no, they didn't, you know what I mean? And you're having dialogue and conversation about it. And so I think the solution is at some point expansion, right? But if expansion can't come right away, how can we add more roster spots? And I also believe like veterans, they've earned their place in this league by working hard and stuff like that. At some point they were rookies. They were not what you call them today, which are vets. So they deserve their salary. So it's like, where is the common ground where these women aren't already getting paid, which I believe they deserve, but that's due to, not being televised the way that they possibly could be. Their season is in a wonky time. It's during the summer. So viewership numbers may not be as high as they could possibly be if it was at a different time of the year. I think those are all things to really try to reflect on and think about. That is bigger than the fact that they're not getting paid. Okay, we understand that. But how do we try to build on the reasons why and then figure out how to, I think a good start would be, how do we get more spots open, or how do you get more hardship spots at least so that players can work more to put themselves in a position to make the team. And I think people also don't sometimes put into consideration how fast the turnover rate is from, I have to go to graduation, then I'm coming here to training camp. Oh, but I just also finished the NCAA tournament. If I had a deep run, such as a UConn and Avina Westbrook or something like that, or Christina Williams, that puts a lot of stress on the body. She got hurt, you know what I mean, in training camp. And who's to say that doesn't happen if they get a little more of a break and time to recover? So I think all that goes into the process of trying to breed the best league possible here for our women that do play in the States. And trying to see, I think, look at the full circle and all the different aspects that it's going to take for the league to grow.
That you just brought up something, Ty, that I had literally never thought about, and it's probably something I should have just that quick turnaround point though. Like you mentioned with the WNBA season being right at the beginning of summer, like you mentioned, playing your college season, making a deep run, and then having to turn around, graduate.
Some people graduated during the season, like Destanni Henderson missed her graduation. She didn't walk. So
that's crazy.
It's a different level of commitment to play in the WNBA that their male counterparts, I don't think, can merely understand. They say they understand, but until you go through that, and you do have to fly commercial and different factors like that, it kind of makes you respect them so much more in the work that they put in to solidify their spot in the league and stay. So I always, am very happy for the women who do end up prevailing and making the team. It's always going to be a can of sour worms when your player that you are rooting for doesn't make a squad, or, it's like, oh, that's so upsetting. Like Kunane did all these great things at NC State. Well, it's unfortunately that she fell so low because she probably could have helped somebody else out but she just wasn't the right fit for the Seattle Storm. I think a lot of it has to do with fit too in the WNBA as to like if you're going to make a roster or not.
That makes sense.
Ty, you've been talking a lot about social media and how it's really brought to light a lot of these issues, and also just praising the players like they should be praised. And then you also mentioned NIL, which I thought was really cool because that is true. They're starting to be a real presence, and these athletes are creating these social media platforms where they can really market themselves so well. So, I mean, what do you forecast in the near future when this just continues to grow and these women are able to build these amazing platforms for themselves before they even reach the league, like a Paige Beckers or a Leah Boston, and then they hit the league and they can just really promote the league as a whole?
Well, those are two players that you named who are like, you know, sort of at the top
Yeah.
that NIL is. Paige Beckers especially, like, you know, people were talking about, well, she's draft eligible this year. Is Minnesota, so to speak, tanking so they can get her? In my head, I'm like, Paige is set. Why would I leave school early if I got Gatorade sponsorships, StockX? Like,
Yeah,
I'm an advocate for the women who go to the WNBA to finish out school and get your education, because you need that to fall back on because the situation in the league isn't great. But what I love about somebody like a Paige Beckers is she's getting this money now. So she's learning about the management and stuff like that. And I would project that wherever she goes, like she's going to go number one or number two. Like there's, I don't think a ladder for that, anything else. And so she'll already come in with a bigger contract, so to speak, than most. So I think the thought process for players like that is, how do I work my NIL to set me up for when I'm in the league, if we're not at a point quite yet where the pay in the CBA has been worked out to where we are making more money quite yet. So, you know, I'm guessing she has a team of advisors and stuff like that who help her out with different things and deals. I like it because players are now learning this stuff earlier on, how to negotiate, how to say no to certain things. You have to have a comfortable relationship with the word no as well. And I think what NIL helps with is the fact that you get yourself in a position to do these different deals and stuff like that, where some people feel as though like, I have to take this, but you can really customize things to your branding. Like, I don't have to say yes to this because I feel like it doesn't fit who I am. And I don't think the WNBA players have enough say so all the time and saying like no, because they need the extra money. So like more times than not, like, I'm going to do this. So I think it'll just help drive a new wave of an athlete who's going to stand up for things, who's going to be able to exercise their rights of saying yes and no. I like this. I want to do this. I don't want to do that. And then I think in turn, at some point when you're getting the athletes who are coming in the league from NIL, there has to be some turnover. Like, all right, a little college athlete can't be making that much more than me. Now we really have to do something to get the ladies paid. So I think it also puts pressure on the league, on the people in the front office who makes these decisions as well.
No doubt, that's an important part of it for sure. Let's talk a little bit on the court. Talk some real hoops. The Aces have really come out on fire. They might be one of my favorite teams already so far in the league. Becky Hammon is proven to be an elite coach. Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, balling. What do you make of the Aces? Their hot start. Can they keep it going, and how good do you think they can be ultimately this season?
Yeah, well, what I like about the Aces is they have different weapons and how they can beat you. Becky came, you know, and she's running like a NBA type offense where A'ja Wilson is not inclined to be in the post all day long. She's shown that she's improved on her range and stuff like that. And though her numbers aren't like 20 and whatever every single game, it's fine because the people around her are scoring in double digits as well and getting their numbers, and everyone is sort of involved. And it's really hard to beat a team like that. So I really like the Aces and their chances. I feel like it's a better look and feel to this team since they got some new pieces. And also with Becky Hammon, at the helm, it just kind of is like a breath of fresh air. Like, I feel like A'ja looks comfortable. Dearica Hamby, she's used to being a sixth woman. She's starting and she's doing phenomenal things. And like, we can forget, like, okay, her scoring numbers are looking good, but she's rebounding the heck out of the basketball. Like, you need that. So there's more than one force on the outside for them and inside, as far as like, okay, if a shot go up, like I know I got De'Erica crashing on one side, I got Asia on the other side, you got little Jackie getting in there sometimes and rebounding the basketball. So I like the fact that they're getting out and they're running and everyone is sort of involved. And then Kelsey Plum last year, she had this phenomenal season, right? So she's continuing to capitalize on that. And I think having Becky, who is a former point guard, a players type coach, is probably, you know, really good for her confidence too, and just letting her rock out and do her things.
Yeah, and Ty, you know, we talked about the Aces. They're really hot right now. Is there a team that's more towards the lower part that's had a slow start that you feel like is going to be able to turn this around and get on a run, even though it's, you know, still pretty early?
I mean, the team that kind of jumps out to me, I would hope, is the New York Liberty. To me, I'm like, they have the pieces. Sad, Jocelyn Willoughby today, she'll be out, I believe, up to 8 weeks with a torn tendon, but she will be out. So that was a piece who last year they lost her, and this year she's out again. So they've unfortunately been stricken by the injury bug, but I also think that they do have a deep team. You have Stephanie Dawson, who's came over and now she's in this starting role, where when she was in Chicago, she was a key contributor from off the bench. Sometimes she would start, they would mix that thing up. But I think when they get on a role consistently where they have all their bodies, I like the fact that, you know, Benija Laney is back and, you know, she's looking good again. Sabrina Ionescu, she didn't have the best game last time out, but it's fine. Like, we know what she's capable of. If they could work together and get all their pieces healthy and try to figure it out, I think they could be a deeper playoff team, because they snuck in the playoffs last year in you know, the last day of the regular season. And I think their fate again could be a playoff team, but they'll have to get healthy first, and we'll really have to see what Sandy can do over there in the head coach spot.
No doubt. Probably last question we got for you, Ty, before we let you get up out of here. Give me your way too early WNBA finals pick. Give me two teams that you wouldn't be surprised at all that would be the last two teams standing. Can my Sky make another run at it? What do you think?
I mean, I say 100% yes. As far as the Sky go, we have to think they don't have Ka, and like Kalia Copper is it. Right. You know, she's not back in action quite yet. Yeah. And then I'm gonna go with the Washington Mystics. And I'm not just saying that because that's my squad, but I think they are truly a deep team when it comes to, you can mix Shakira and put her in the starting lineup. You can have her coming off the bench and she can still be effective. I like the fact that they brought Tiana Hawkins back home. I think she plays her best basketball in Washington, D.C., and she's a key contributor from off the bench. Another player who, of course, I think many love and I love is Elena Deladon. The fact that she's been able to come out with her issues, her back and all that other stuff and still perform at that level. And I'm thinking to myself, like, she's not even 100%. And it's scary hours, and you know, they're doing whatever they can to conserve her and to make sure she can last throughout the season. So I predict way too early that it could be the Washington Mystics, and I think I'll go out of my way to say I don't know if I see Chicago going back to back. That could be like a tough stretch.
It's difficult to go back to back.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard. So I'm like,
you're breaking Scott's heart right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm not trying to though, but like I'm just like, I don't know, that run last year by the Chicago Sky was so remarkable though. Like they came out like guns blazing, like towards the end, like nobody saw them doing it. So I'm not gonna count them out. I'll say that.
Sure thing. No, that makes a lot of sense, and it's been dope chopping it up the W with you, Ty. This has been great. Go follow Ty's great work on Twitter and with Overtime. But for Scott Proctor, Matt Morris, Our Lady Tykera Carter, we'll catch you on the next episode of Simple Questions.